Hello, Serious Survivor, and the grid is going down. But before that happens, a quick word from our sponsors here. Did you ever dream of diving deep into the ocean to find riches and wealth enough to live the life of a king? Noble Gold can bring you closer to that dream. They've located some scarce solid gold coins from the cargo that went down with the SS Central America during a hurricane that sunk the ship in the 1800s. People called it the Ship of Gold, and a dive boat found out why in 1988. In the hole, they came across a sunken treasure, gold coins and nuggets. These don't come on the market very often, and when they do, you better jump at the chance. Divers discovered these particularly valuable mint $20 gold Liberty coins at the ocean's bottom. They're a part of one of America's most notable stories. And now you can own one of these magnificent coins as well as have it delivered directly to your home. So if you ever wanted to own genuine treasure, now's your chance. Call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347 to reserve your treasure. That's 877-646-5347. Grid down. Grid down can be one of the most catastrophic events that could happen, especially in urban areas. This seems to be underestimated by a lot of people. But the recent hack that we saw on the Colonial Pipeline that brought gas flow and diesel and other fuel oil to a halt that caused a lot of shortages and a lot of gas stations to actually run out of gasoline, and we even saw some price gouging going on there. This was one pipeline. Although it is a huge pipeline that supplies 45% of the East Coast gas, then we see what this one infrastructure hack that took down one part of the infrastructure caused panic and chaos in some areas. People standing in line, prices going up. I'm feeling the impact of the prices up here in Michigan right now, and we're not even supplied by that particular pipeline, but gas has increased by at least 25 to 50 cents a gallon depending on which store you go to. This is just the beginning. This was a test run, in my opinion, a very successful test run, one in which the hackers or the ransomware group actually achieved their goal. And they proved that they can do this without us being able to stop them. It makes us wonder about the state of our infrastructure in this nation. Our power grid, we are so reliant on our power grid. I believe that that will be one of the next attacks. Imagine how serious a grid down would be in a city like New York. We already see a lot of chaos, a lot of crime rates increasing in urban areas across the U.S. with civil unrest and everything else that's going on. You combine that with a gas shortage, supply shortages, supply chain issues, leading to food shortages, and then a grid down. Foreign nations won't have to invade us. We will fall into a state of civil war and civil unrest here on our own. This is a very concerning aspect, and the real question is, are you ready for a grid down event? Nobody can actually be mentally prepared for a long-term grid down event that takes down the entire grid and we lose access to our basic systems such as social services. There'll be no one to call, no ambulance, no 911, no police, no fire. We already see fires that are started in protest or riots, and these will be done again. Imagine the cities that have the riots still going on. When the grid goes down and no one can call anyone for help, they're going to run wild in the streets at this point, and we're really going to see these cities burn. So for those in urban areas, you need to be very aware of this threat and understand that a grid down is not something that is a conspiracy. This isn't something that might happen. This is something that will happen. These groups that took down the pipeline definitely have the capabilities, or at least believe they have the capabilities, to take down our grid. Maybe not nationwide, but it doesn't have to be nationwide. If it's in a large enough area that impacts the same type of area or the same range of area that the pipeline impacted, then you think about the entire East Coast being without power and being without the services that we have become so accustomed to. Prepping used to be something that people tied to conspiracy theorists and tied to those people that they call paranoid. Now, these days, a lot of people have jumped on board the prepping train and call themselves preppers because they stockpile gear. And that's always a good idea, is to have enough gear. But we have to understand what we're facing with the grid down. It's more than just having some food and some water. This is going to be a security risk to everyone, no matter where you're at, whether you're rural, urban, or in between in the suburbs somewhere. At some point, if the grid is down long enough, people will come and people will knock on your door. And although some may knock, some may not. Some may just attempt to enter and see what you got that they can take. Security is going to be one of the most important aspects in this type of event. I'll put a couple of links below to some videos on grid down that talk about a lot of gear and talk about a lot of skills that we can develop right now that would prepare us. If you're not prepared already, then it's going to be difficult to obtain the supplies you need in a short amount of time. But that shouldn't discourage anyone. It should be something that we do right away. But this should be in our minds, and it should be in the forefronts of our thoughts. They've proven a lot of things. We see a supply chain disruption right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We have civil unrest in a lot of our major cities. The nation is divided. And when the grid goes down, how do you think most people will react? It's not going to be a good reaction. Some folks will work together while others will work against people to simply try to take what they need. Security is going to be one of the most foremost concerns for everyone. The services impacted by a grid down would be wide-ranging. These would range from your hospitals to your emergency care clinics to the ability to actually being able to call for help. We won't have that ability anymore. And this is something that we really need to put a lot of thought into. I'm going to talk a lot more. I'm going to revisit the grid down and really get in depth on a lot of these, because I believe that this is coming, and I believe that it's going to be one of the most major threats that we face. Grid down will be more difficult than any type of shortage or other shortage that we would face internally, especially with all the civil unrest and all the problems that this nation has right now. Well, that's it for now. Keep an eye on the channel, because we're going to go in depth on this subject. The grid down is something we really need to talk about, and we're going to talk in depth about different skills, different things, securing our perimeter, securing our location, doing this with solar panels, solar power. We're going to look at a lot of different aspects of it. So thanks a lot for watching. For now, Seer Survivor, out.